Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from this month's sponsor, Ethico.
In the delicate arena of compliance, every conversation matters. Traditional methods can leave callers feeling unheard, but Ethico changes the game. Our empathetic interview technique reshapes compliance calls into powerful, compassionate interactions, ensuring no crucial detail is missed. It's about creating a conversation that matters, that resonates, that makes a difference. Be the change in your compliance approach. See the transformation for yourself at ethico.com/CPN. Book a demo, try our free ROI calculator, and explore the white paper by Tom Fox, The ROI of Compliance.
The Daily Compliance News for May 22nd, 2024, the Prosecutorial Misconduct edition. We begin with that story from the Washington Post, as several of the naval officers who were convicted in the Fat Leonard scandal are about to have their cases dismissed because of prosecutorial misconduct in the investigation that has caused several cases to unravel and looks like it's going to undermine more. Federal prosecutors are proposing to throw out felony guilty pleas of 3 retired naval officers and 1 Marine Corps colonel who admitted taking bribes from Fat Leonard. The case collapsed after defense attorneys alleged that the prosecutors from the U.S. Attorney's Office in San Diego relied on flawed evidence and withheld information favorable to the defense during the 2022 bribery trial. So, Fat Leonard lives. Next up from the Financial Times, will there be fewer meetings and more memos in the future of asynchronous work? Ditching regular hours means companies must rethink ways for colleagues to collaborate. This meeting could have been an email as a common complaint, but for some companies, it's now a guiding principle. As a recovering lawyer, having memos is certainly something I'm very familiar with. And as the pandemic cut ties to the office, more people are working at times when it suits them best. This means fewer meetings and more detailed memos. Next up from Bloomberg, a very interesting article that poses the question of whether a supplier to Red Lobster was the one who bankrupted the company. A Thai food supplier that owns Red Lobster management apparently required the company to start its endless shrimp deal, which is very problematic for the company, but equally importantly, dumped and forced Red Lobster to buy the shrimp from it. So did the supplier actually bankrupt Red Lobster? That's a really interesting question, and from the compliance perspective, raises lots and lots of red flags. And our final story today comes to us from Bloomberg about Boomerang CEOs. So we've got Adam Neumann attempting to rebuy WeWork, and of course, the former head of Nikola, Trevor Milton, wants to rebuy the company, and he's a convicted fraudster. At least Adam Neumann never went to trial. So what are you going to do when one of these corrupt former CEOs comes back and takes over the company? Will they ruin it? What do you think? As I mentioned at the start of this podcast, this month's sponsor for the entire Compliance Podcast Network is Ethico. Have you ever wondered how to show the ROI of your compliance program? Have you struggled with the budgeting process, getting the funds you want for your compliance program? Well, I've partnered with Ethico to put together a white paper on the ROI of compliance, which shows you not only how to demonstrate ROI, but also how to speak finance when you're sitting across from the CFO with your budget proposals. Check out the website and get the white paper. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.